Hello, everybody. Let me get this straight. Welcome, everyone. Happy Friday. I know usually I'm live on Thursdays, but this week's been a little crazy for me. So it's Friday and we're going live Friday. What we're going to, as always, talk about manifesting. So I'm here to answer any of your questions, have a good conversation with you. I don't have a specific topic in mind, so I'll wait for people to hop on and see what you guys want to talk about, what questions you have, and take it from there. And I brought some cards too, so I guess I'll just shuffle those while I wait for the room to fill up. And as you hop on, say hello so I can see who's here with me. I love to see who's joining me. If it's your first time, let me know. If you're new or returning, all the good stuff. Let me know how your Friday is, where in the world you're tuning in from. Hello, everyone hopping on. Hi. Welcome, welcome. For those of you who are new and maybe haven't come across me before, welcome. My name's Hannah. I am a manifestation coach, and I teach it all through the lens of mindset, emotional regulation, all that good stuff. Okay, and I have some cards here. We'll pull some cards if you guys want to get some messages. And I just wanted to leave it open today. I don't have a specific topic in mind, so you guys can ask whatever manifesting questions you have. Law of attraction, law of assumption, self-concept, nervous system regulation, mindset, subconscious mind reprogramming, affirmations, techniques. Like, ask your questions. What do you want to know? What's your experience? If you want to share any good results you're getting, any questions you have, areas in which you feel stuck. Hey, Kennedy, welcome. So yeah, I was just sharing with everyone, this is just open. Ask whatever questions you have. I don't have a specific topic today. And for anyone new, just so you know, you will be able to catch the replay of this live on my YouTube. So I always upload them on my YouTube, and that is linked at the top of my profile. So if you go to my profile, to my page, you'll find all the things you need. My YouTube, how to work with me, all the things. So there's lots of ways I can support you. But I'm just opening this up today to have a fun discussion with you guys about manifesting. What are you feeling stuck on? What's triggering you? What are you doing really well? What's been working for you? What aha moments have you been having? Just let's have a good conversation, okay? Kennedy says, I'm manifesting my SP and I've been feeling like I can pay attention to my other manifestations. Can you explain that a little more, Kennedy? Do you mean like you're not just focusing on one area, like you're having fun focusing on other areas? Let me know. Welcome, everyone. Hi, Jennifer. Hey, Avi. Hi, Laura. Welcome, everyone. Naomi. If you're new, guys, say hello. Let me know where you're tuning in from. We're having a manifestation chat here. Do some live coaching, answer any of your questions. And I'll pull some cards later. So if you guys want to stick around for that. Okay, Kennedy says, like, I don't feel like there's anything I need to do when it comes to SP, feeling relaxed. That is so good. That means that you're releasing resistance, Kennedy. That means that you're landing more in faith and knowing, right? So this is so important when manifesting, is to, instead of being in this resistant state where we're trying to control everything and micromanage everything, when we just land in that knowing of it's going to work out. I don't need to know all the details. I don't need to know when or how. I just know that this is being worked out for me. That's such an energetically open and receptive state. It's really magnetic. And specifically when we talk about love, it's easy for us to kind of grasp that concept, because someone who's not in like a needy, desperate, clingy energy is just automatically so much more attractive, you know? But the same thing goes with whatever it is you want to manifest, whether it's money, success, like health, anything you want to manifest. When we can be in that relaxed, open, receptive state, it's so much easier for us to receive it. And a big part of that, and this is what we've been talking about over the last couple of weeks on these lives, is because manifestation, what it really is a a perspective shift, right? So when we stop trying so hard to make something happen, because what is that rooted in? When you're trying to make something happen, it's because you're landing in the energetic state of I don't have it, right? So you may not be consciously aware that that's the energy you're sending out, but really that is what the energy you're sending out. It's the state that you're embodying. It's the self-concept that you have probably on default, right? It's a very subconscious thing. So when we can stop trying to make something happen and just focus on living our lives and doing other things, and then when you think of that one topic, just remind yourself, oh yeah, I don't have to worry about that. It's being handled. You're by default then picking up you're in a new energetic state. You're vibrating and thinking and feeling and acting more like the person who does have that thing. So, and let's just, to make this easier for you to understand, maybe you're consciously aware that you don't have it right in this moment, but you know you're going to. So it kind of takes the edge off of that neediness. You feel me? It kind of neutralizes it. And this is why a lot of what I teach is how to land in that space of neutrality, how to stop feeling the intense lack. We can acknowledge that, okay, maybe something hasn't physically landed in our reality yet, but when you know it's on the way, you're not like in this needy space, you're just more excited, right? So think about it like this. If you place an order on Amazon, right, you know it's on the way and you're just excited. You're like, oh, it's going to show up any moment. I'm excited, you know? But you're not in the space of like, oh my gosh, I really need this thing. I need to get it. I wonder where the money's going to come from. I wonder how I'm going to get it. Is it going to run out? You know, like you're not in that space because you already ordered it. You know, it's on the way. Does that make sense? But what I was saying is, you know, what we've been talking about over the last couple of weeks is really shifting your mindset out of the lack. Stopping being so attached to the stories that we have of like really reiterating current and past circumstances, because manifestation actually is a perspective shift. So sometimes just getting off the subject altogether gives it enough breathing room for it to shift in your favor, for those old stories and programs and patterns to clear out. Because when we're not seeing what we want, it's because we're focused on something else, and typically we're focused on the absence of it. So it's kind of like how Abraham Hicks talks about how every subject is two ends. It's what's wanted and what's unwanted. And she always says, like, what end of the stick are you picking up? And some people, it creates more resistance to really focus on the thing you want and trying to convince yourself that you have it when you're like, but I don't have it, you know? So sometimes it's really helpful to just get off that subject. And like Kennedy was talking about, you know, focus on other subjects, maybe focus on other manifestations that you have less resistance to. But what's really great is, Kennedy, I can tell from what you were saying, you know, you're in this space of just really knowing and trusting that it's done. And I would love if you are willing to share, Kennedy, with everyone tuning in here on the live and the replay, what techniques have worked for you to build that faith and trust, because I know it's not something that just happens. It happens when we intentionally do whatever techniques we need to do, whether that's just breathing techniques and releasing resistance, releasing old stories, reprogramming. What have you been doing that's been helping you land in that certainty of, I know for sure it's being worked out for me? I would love to know, and I'm sure everyone on here would. Let me read what else you say, Kennedy. Kennedy also says here, I'll have other content come up and I'll just scroll past because there's nothing I need to know. Isn't that awesome? That's such a good, like, non-resistant place to be in, just like trusting more. Kennedy says primarily she's been focusing on emotional nervous system regulation. There you go. See, and this is like why I've been teaching this so much, because I think it's a really overlooked part of manifesting. And with law of assumption, a lot of people like to get really hung up on like, oh, my specific person's obsessed with me and this and they're going to do this and they're calling and texting me this many times a day, and they get really controlling with it. And you can just feel the vibe of that is very restricted and tight and tense and anxious. Yeah, very needy and lackful and controlling. Whereas and so you think you're assuming what you want, but really you're kind of more so playing in the energy of, yeah, but it's not here yet. So what happens is when you can really discipline yourself to regulate your nervous system, what you're telling your brain through your body, through regulating your nervous system, is that everything's okay. And that by default, like it is here or it's on the way, it's okay. So it's a very different energetic state. You're either embodying the state of the person who has it or who doesn't have it, or the person who it's inevitable for, or the person who doubts it's going to happen for them. They're two very different experiences in your body, in your psyche, in your energy. And so a lot of people just can't, it just depends on where you are in your journey. It takes a lot of faith, a lot of surrender. I've been on this journey for many years, like, and just honing it more and perfecting it and fine tuning it. But I will say, like, learning to surrender and let go has been one of the best things I've worked on. And one of the reasons being is because, you know, your logical mind I tried to help break it down in these videos for you guys to help you logically get your brain on board with it's safe to surrender, it's safe to let go, it's safe to feel safe in my body now, regardless of what it looks like outside of me, regardless of what's happened in the past, like regardless of your fears and anxieties, it's safe to relax now. It's hard for your brain to get on board with that. I try my best to help you, but essentially your brain's never going to fully feel safe. But if you can just go first and practice that energetic state, regardless of what's going on around you, regardless of what your mind is telling you, your logical mind is telling you, what will happen is, because you're in an open, receptive, relaxed, calm state, you're going to notice more synchronicities. More of the things you desire are going to become visible to you, aka they manifest in your reality. They were always there. It's just you've eased up on the old story for long enough that you're able to see beyond it, right? So when you're in your old story, you're tight, intense, and everything you want's out here. It's here. You don't have to draw it to you, because when you're tight, intense, and closed off, nothing can get in anyway, right? You're like locked into that shitty little reality. But the more you can relax, let go, open up, let go of the old stories, just breathe, you're going to start becoming aware of how much is already there for you. And you have this physical experience then of things seeming to manifest and come together in really beautiful, amazing ways. So this is why I really always encourage you guys, start feeling better now. Start regulating now. Embody a state of peace now. Your current and past circumstances don't matter. Stop trying to do it all logically. And I am all for affirmations, and I am all for visualization, and I am all for scripting and whatever helps you get in that creative mode. But I don't want you to just stay there. It's a balance I've found of doing both. And when I come across clients who are like doing all the things and not getting results, it's because energetically you're not letting it in. And regardless of how many techniques you're doing or not doing, it's always available to you to just soften, relax, release resistance, and let it in. But it can be really fun to do both. I personally like to do both, but I will say if I had to pick one, I would pick just nervous system regulation and relaxing. And this does go hand in hand, I find, with like the mindset work, because think about it, when you're not feeling good, when you're having a hard time relaxing, it's because you're telling a shitty story, right? So we can get curious and say, well, is this the ultimate truth? Okay, so I'm feeling bad. Why am I feeling bad? What must I be believing? What am I telling myself? How am I feeling deep down about myself, about life, around what's possible for me? And then even if you don't really feel empowered to shift it, just setting the intention of like, wow, I don't want to feel like that anymore. I don't want to believe that anymore. I'm ready to release that. That often is enough to shift it up and clear up some of that energy, like create some space. Let me know if this is landing, guys. And Kennedy says here too, and I sit with the discomfort and resistance. I sit with the contrast and stop fearing it and practicing non-reaction. Incredible. Yes, this is such a powerful practice. So, we don't need to, like, when we feel afraid, we don't need to dig into it and figure it all out. I mean, sometimes that can be helpful. Sometimes that's something you're going to want to do because you want to understand it. You want to understand your experience more. And, when we see something, then we know how we can shift it, right? So, sometimes it's good to become aware of like where the misalignment is so we can intentionally go in with the opposite. But there's so much power in just not resisting it. What's that quote? It's like the only thing to fear is fear itself. And so what Kennedy's sharing, guys, is that if when you feel triggered, when you feel afraid, if you just sit with it instead of numbing out, instead of frantically affirming over it or whatever you do, if you can just sit with it and be okay with it, know that it's temporary, it's going to pass. It will pass. And it's like whatever we resist persists, right? So you want to stay soft and open in those moments and allow it to pass. Literally what's happening is old thought forms dissolve when you do that, and better ones take their place. Because without all these limits, it's like when you let each fear come up in a wave, it's like this wave of fear that just comes and goes. If you let it come up instead of bracing for impact, if you stay soft and let it come up, it's almost like this filter is stripped away and you're like one step closer to seeing your wholeness. Hey, buddy, come here. My neighbor's dog is barking and then my dog's barking. Hey, buddy, come here. Let me go get him. Hang on one sec. Come here, bud. I think the people on the live would love to see your beautiful little face. Do you want to hang out with Mama? Do you want to come say hi? Come here. Let me go see the people. You're too beautiful not to share. Do you want to come hang out in here? I bet everyone would love to see your beautiful little self. I adopted this little munchkin. You sweet boy. Say hi to the people. So he might hang out in here with me. In here, it's more quiet in here, bud. Okay. But yes, non-reaction is so powerful. Essentially what you're doing, you're alchemizing those lower frequencies when you can just stay non-reactive. And that's like, it literally can be that simple. So people who feel like they're really battling and struggling with the mindset stuff and trying to understand it and trying to logic their way through it, like I would encourage you to lean more in that feminine energy of just like staying soft and neutral and not resisting it, being in that receptive mode. Give things some breathing room to resolve themselves. He's so cute, thanks. I love him. That's my little baby. He's so precious. My little soulmate right there. By the way, guys, if you are new, welcome. Feel free to say hello. If you have any questions about what we're talking about, put them down in the comments. And I'm back in school, so I have finals coming up, and I'll be traveling to see some family during the holidays. So over the next couple of weeks, I may not be live once a week. I'm going to aim for it, but I do put content out pretty regularly, and I have a ton of different resources to help you guys, as well as all the replays of these lives I upload to my YouTube. So you can always watch those. We have some really good conversations on these lives, and I always find that whatever one you click on usually is just the message you need to hear. But I also do personal readings, one-on-one coaching calls, email coaching. I have a ton of self-paced programs. I have a self-concept guide where I really teach you how to work through your mindset and your self-concept to manifest that way, to really work through like your identity, how you're identifying. And in that, I help you with your self-talk, and I help you really learn how to create affirmations that work for you. I have self-paced programs, all sorts of things, audios, affirmation tracks, subliminals, meditations. I mean, I think I covered everything finally. Kennedy said, sometimes I say you can hang out with me for the day if you need to, and I'm nice to the resistance. Yeah, that's such a good way to look at it, Kennedy, because really it's like that fear, it's a part of you who's just afraid because they don't understand everything. They don't see all the potential. They don't see how it's all going to work out. It's that part of you that's afraid to repeat the past, right? And, you know, like, it's just like a little kid. If a little kid's afraid because they don't have all the knowledge that the adult has, you wouldn't shame the little kid for being afraid. You'd be like, it's okay, like, come here, like, let me just hold you, let's do something fun. Like, you're not bad for being afraid, but I love you and I want to show you that you're safe. You know, so you want to treat yourself that way. I think we can get really judgmental and harsh and critical with ourselves, like, oh my God, I shouldn't be feeling this resistance, it shouldn't be here, this is the old story. And it's like, you can't shame yourself into the new version of you. You just have to love and accept yourself into the new version of you. Bug, can you not dig on the carpet, honey? Do you want to come sit with me? Kennedy, dropping bars in this live. Thank you for sharing this with everyone. I'm sure it's super helpful for everyone on here, Kennedy. Mariah says, I manifested my ex back and I'm trying to manifest a new version of him. Any tips? I get very anxious. Mariah, since you're feeling anxious, what I would do, what I'm picking up with you intuitively, I would not focus on him per se. You can know in your heart, like, okay, this is a person that, from my understanding of my viewpoint right here, that I think I want. And that is definitely a potential. But what you want more than him is you want a good relationship, right? And so like the reason you think you want him is because there are certain things you like about him, right? So what I want you to do, Mariah, is I want you to list out all the qualities you love about him. Like, what made you love this guy? Why do you want this SP? And then all the ways you're saying you're trying to change him, instead of thinking of it of changing him, I just want you to think like you are making a list of your ideal partner. So you're going to include all the things you love about him and all the things you wish he had and the dynamics that you want to have together, like how you want to experience love. Because this isn't really about him. It's about you. It's about you changing your concept of yourself and who you get to be in love, the kind of love and relationship that you get to experience. So as you make that list, I want you to go through and notice what things on that list kind of trigger you. Like, what things do you think like, oh, well, I can't have that, or, oh, well, I've never experienced that before, or I've never seen it before. Like, and then that's going to show you where some of the resistance is. Because the thing is, you can have whatever you want. We just have to get clear about like why we're struggling to believe it's possible for us. And I want you to always remember that you're not trying to control and manipulate people and circumstances outside of you. I know it can seem like that, but what we're doing is we're going within and changing ourselves. We're changing our standards, our energetic standards. We're changing what we think is possible, what we're worthy of, who we believe we are, who we get to be. And then as we change that, then the outside changes. Either he will show up differently or you will manifest someone even better. And you're going to be like, why was I even hung up on this guy? We don't know how it's going to work out for you. So it's better to not get into those specific details of it needs to be him and he needs to change, because when you're focusing on that, what you're inadvertently focusing on is how he's not that yet. So that's lack. So I want you to just remove him from it if focusing on him specifically is causing resistance. And I want you to focus instead on what are the elements of your ideal relationship. And work on getting yourself into alignment with that. And what I mean by that is work on building belief systems within yourself about yourself and why you are deserving of that kind of love. And if there are things you are doing that make you feel unworthy, that are not in alignment with that version of you, then clean that up too, right? So for me, for example, when I got serious about calling in love, I was not hooking up with anyone. I didn't even date anyone. And I'm not saying these things are good or bad or wrong or any of that. That was just for me. I was like, well, the version of me who's wifed up is not just casually dating and hooking up and doing that kind of stuff, right? I was like, no, I take myself seriously. I'm working on myself. I'm working on my health. I'm working on my money, and I was just working on being that next level version of me. And then when I was ready to date, I called in a partner very, very quickly. So it's about getting yourself aligned. Let me know if that makes sense, Mariah. You're welcome. You're welcome, Mariah. Kennedy says, when you first started law of attraction or law of assumption, did it take quite a bit of internal work before you saw 3D movement? Yeah, for some things it did, and for some things it didn't. So for me, I think it really just depends on like what your backstory is and how much resistance you have. Like, because when we have a belief system, whether it's conscious or subconscious, we're always finding evidence to back that up, right? So I've been talking about reticular activating system in the last couple of weeks. Those are all uploaded on my YouTube, by the way, guys, if you want to go back. But so it can be hard to kind of detach from that story when you're like, but I have all this evidence. But that doesn't mean that the evidence for the opposite isn't there too. It's just that you haven't been looking for it. So, certain things were easier for me to shift. So for example, my body healed really quickly, but money took a little longer for me. That was just me. That was just what I had going on energetically, right? And subconsciously. But then I have clients who manifest money out of thin air, and they're like, why can't I heal my body? And I'm like, girl, you're fine. You got this. Like, I was just the opposite of you, you know? So it's really, so, you know, and in those cases, what's really good is to just practice like what you were saying, Kennedy, where you've been getting more movement of just doing the nervous system regulation, relaxing, not resisting resistance, not being afraid of the fear. Those are the practices that I'm leaning more towards teaching these more, because I think overall that's more helpful. I still love the mindset work. I still teach it. But if you're going to be tense and in a fearful, restrictive, tight energy while you're affirming, while you're visualizing, it's going to feel like you're working so hard and getting almost no results. And on the other side of that is that if you don't do any of those, but you just relax, you'll start being a magnet for good things. So it's kind of like you can't go wrong with doing the energetic work first, you know? It's like any method will work as long as you get your energy right. Kennedy, I think I've had the most shifts with work because I had no resistance. Yeah, see, exactly. So it's just different for everyone. It's like certain things in our mind are easier or more difficult. Like for me, certain things were easier to shift when I was like, could logically see, like to me, it made sense. Oh, if I do this, I'll get this. And this is why a lot of people are successful in the like hustle way, because they're like, oh, well, if I just do this in my business, we'll get this results. That's great. But then there's people who like deep down are afraid that no matter what they do, nothing's going to work. And then that's their experience. So we can bypass all of that by just doing the energetic work and then go in with the mindset shifts. You know, when you notice, okay, what are the fears I'm having? What are the limits? And then you can go in and tell the opposite. But you know, if it's causing a lot of resistance, you don't need to like hammer it in. Does that make sense? I really like to use like bridge statements when I'm feeling like an affirmation is causing a lot of resistance. So for example, let's say you want to manifest love, but it's like really, really difficult for you to believe that you'd be able to have the partner you want because you've never experienced that. You might want to go in with a softer statement like, I'm beginning to believe more and more. I'm beginning to open myself up to the idea that I can have the kind of love I want. Something like that can release a lot of resistance, you know? So sometimes you just got to get creative with the way you're doing your affirmations, because sometimes it's really hard to jump from one to the other, especially when you've been gathering so much evidence of the opposite. And if anyone needs help with that, that's something we can do easily in like email coaching or something too, if you want. Because what I'm good at doing is helping you identify like what your subconscious patterns are. So maybe you're not aware of it because you're too close to it. And I can help you go in and say, okay, so I'm feeling energetically like this is going on. And you'll be like, yeah, that's it. And then, so, okay, but this affirmation, scripting, visualizing this way is causing more resistance. What do I do? And I can help you find something that works for you. But if you're someone who's really good at leading yourself, you may want to check out some of my self-paced programs like Manifestation Mastery, or even my self-concept guide could be really good for helping you with this too. So there's lots of things. It's all at the top of my profile with the link there. Also, guys, I send an email out every Sunday with the direct link to the replay and a message for you. So if you would like that, you can sign up for that too. If you click the link in my bio, it's the one, scroll all the way down. It should say newsletter. So you can sign up there. And I had one person tell me they signed up and haven't been getting the emails. So if you did, just send me a message if you're like not getting the emails, because I did recently switch the platform that I use for the automation. So I just want to make sure everyone who wants to get that gets that. Okay. T says, are you talking? I must have missed your first comment, T. Hang on, because I'm reading one that's not making sense. Okay. She says, my friend and her boyfriend have a 10-year age gap and she can't have children anymore. He wants a family life. She wants marriage with him. I'm encouraging her to manifest him. Is that possible though? He said, okay, T, you got a lot of like current circumstances that you're focusing on. She can have whatever she wants. Who says she can't have kids anymore? Like, who says that? Like these are things we need to question, right? Just because a doctor says something doesn't mean that's how it's going to be. Trust me, when I was going through autoimmune and all sorts of different health issues, I had a lot of doctors with a lot of opinions, and guess what? My body healed without doing anything crazy. just by me releasing resistance and relaxing and healing my internal stuff, my emotional world, you know? It's also connected. So, you know, T, you want her to not focus on the limits. You want her to focus on what she wants. So if you were here, T, when I was answering Mariah's question, I think that would be really helpful for you to share with your friend too. And if you weren't here, I'll post this replay this weekend on my YouTube. So feel free to like go back, check it out, share the link with your friend. It's all possible. And sometimes we get really hung up because we think, and this may be triggering to some people, you 100% can manifest a specific person. I've done it. I then later regretted that and realized that that desire for that specific relationship with that specific person was just based off my limited viewpoint from there. Like, you don't know what you don't know. And if, there's so much more available to you than your human mind can comprehend because you haven't even seen it yet. Like, the best case scenario you can dream up for yourself is limited. It's a tiny fraction of what's available to you. So there's actually so much power in surrendering control and exactly how it needs to look and not clinging so tight to that and getting more in touch with how you want to feel. So the specific person you think you want, why do you want them? Do you love that they're driven and motivated and passionate? Are you like super attracted to them? Do you guys have great chemistry? Like, what is it? What is it you love about this person? And focus more on the attributes, and then go ahead and add in everything that seems to be missing in that connection, because I guarantee you either they will shift or someone a million times better will show up in your world and you totally will forget the other one. This happens so often with my clients when I work on them on like working on their energy, their self-concept. They become so magnetic that not only do their exes come back or the SP that they wanted to manifest, and they're like, Hannah, I have options and now I'm stressed out because I don't know which one to choose. You know, like it's not about like focusing on the other person. There's so much power in taking that energy back and focusing it on you and what you get to have and who you get to be. Miranda, manifesting a job as a recent grad. Any good affirmations? Well, it really just depends on like what you want. So just the same thing I've been telling everyone for SP, do the same thing, Miranda, for your job. Like, get clear on what you want, how you want to feel. Mariah, should I also try to live in the end along with focusing on aligning myself? Okay, I want to give you guys a shortcut for living in the end, because we make living in the end so conditional. We make it mean, okay, I need to visualize an end scene with everything I want, with the partner, the house, the job, the money, the body, like living on the beachfront property, you know, that's great to do. But you know what's also great? To just go for the feeling without it being attached to the thing. So here's the thing. Living in the end is going to feel like different things in your body. It's going to likely feel calm, peace, like your heart's full, like you're really satisfied, like you're really content, like, I don't want to be focused on the future. I don't want to think about the past because this present moment is so good. It's so delicious right here. I just want to soak it all up. I don't want this moment to end. Being present is like the quickest way to draw your manifestations to you. So the end state really, and this is what I see a lot of people not talking about, is it can be different feelings in different moments, but it's going to feel more open, more relaxed, landing in trust, appreciation, like, this feels so good. Like, so whatever it is you're doing, whether it's big or small or in between, that feels good. Just allow yourself to drop into your body and be fully present there and just get lost in the experience of it. Sometimes it's a nice meditation session. Sometimes it's a nice walk. Sometimes it's enjoying good music, cooking a good meal. It's the feeling of relief, of I don't need to make this happen because it's already here or it's on the way. It's being worked out. It's peace. It's open, it's receptive, it's trusting, it's knowing. And there are so many ways you can access that right now, or so many little things you can do to get yourself in that energy. So yes, if you enjoy visualizing an end state of a specific goal, great, do it. When you get to that peak of it feeling really good, I want you to mentally let it go And if you need to like say something, be like, universe, I'm handing it over to you. Get to work, go make it happen. And then I want you to enjoy your day. What I see people doing so much is they get to that good feeling state and then they just hold on and they grip and they cling and they don't let go. And then they become hyper aware of the fact that that isn't their current reality yet. And then you stop yourself from enjoying your life and being present, which is actually what matters more. Because sure, you can do a visualization technique, you can script, you can listen to affirmations, you can do whatever, and it can temporarily get you in that good feeling state. But how are you feeling the rest of the day? Because that's only going to last for so long, right? So when you look at it from an energetic perspective, sure, you can do your manifestation techniques, but you also have the opportunity to stay in this state all day long while you're just living your day-to-day life. Does this make sense? Because it's about matching the frequency. And there's so much power in getting clear on what you want and setting the intention. Like, I'm not telling you just stop with the techniques. If they're causing a lot of resistance, just take a break, take a time out for sure. But no one and nothing is stopping you from embodying an internal state all day long. That is a choice you get to make. It's completely free. It doesn't cost anything. You don't actually need a coach for this. Like, you get to be in that state. And so if you guys heard what Kennedy was saying, and if not, you can scroll through the comments or you can watch the replay of this while I read some things out loud and had a little chat back and forth with her. But Kennedy was speaking about this directly. She's explaining how she's been getting the most movement and results and just like feeling at peace because she's been working on nervous system regulation. And what she touched on, which I think is so important and key, is that anytime resistance or fear came up, she just sits with it. She doesn't battle with it. It's going to pass way more quickly if you don't. A week ago, I had a really, really dark and shitty day. And I could have been like, where the hell is this coming from? I work on myself. I'm aligned all the time. I've already accomplished so much. Like I could have done that, but I was just like, oh, okay, so this is what we're doing today. And I just kind of surrendered to it. And I didn't take my thoughts too seriously because I was like, these must be from the depths of somewhere because this is not how I ever feel. Like I haven't felt like this in years. I didn't make it mean anything. And the next day I was fine, and it was okay. And I didn't need to try to figure out where it was coming from. I just didn't resist it. And in those moments when you're feeling a lot of just those uncomfortable things, you don't need to battle it. You don't need to try to understand it. Just be kind to your human. Do what you need to do. I definitely laid in bed all day that day, I did not cook any meals. It was one of those days. And it left just as quickly as it came. But so often, we'll just have these if you start paying attention to how you feel, you'll notice throughout the day what things are triggering you. When does your mind start to run amok and start telling all these unfavorable stories? If you can just in those moments, just breathe. Okay, this is the old story. I don't want this, and just breathe through it. And become aware of that, you're going to be able to shift and realign a lot more quickly instead of spending the majority of your day very misaligned. And then being like, oh my God, but I have to do my visualization. It's okay, it actually doesn't matter how much you're doing your visualization if the rest of the day you're seriously misaligned. If you're tense and stressed out and anxious and judgmental and complaining and miserable, right? It's your choice how you're going to be, how you're going to react to everything in your day and your life. And sure, you can get out ahead of it and do things that make you happy, but there's also a lot of power in okay, the things and the people and the circumstances that you can't control, how do you show up to those? Because if you can stay neutral, you're going to alchemize that stuff really, really fast. Kennedy says, there's a naturalness to it. It's just done wow, I can go read a book or do a puzzle. Yes, exactly. I always say, you can go play and have fun and let it get worked out for you. That's always an option. But sometimes our logical minds really can't comprehend that because we've been so brainwashed to think that we need to work and struggle and suffer to get anything. How do you get rid of a third party? I'm struggling ignoring it. Stop trying to ignore it and just ignore it by focusing on other things. I would work on your self-concept. I would just go work on doing things that make you feel good. Am I on here still? Sorry, I had like a notification on my phone. I'm going to pull an affirmation card for you guys really quick before I hop off, okay? I intend that this was helpful. Thank you everyone for being here. I'm gonna pull a card from the universe has your back deck. So we'll see what comes out. And Kennedy, like you were saying, I just want to add on. You're saying like there's naturalness to it, like knowing that it's done so you can just go read a book or do a puzzle. It's like that's the whole reason you want the thing you want. You want everything to fall into place so you can just breathe and enjoy your life. But like that's available to you right now, regardless of the circumstances. This is why we talk about how circumstances don't matter. So the affirmation I pulled, guys, first off, there's a dragonfly on there. So if that has any specific meaning to either of you, it says, I always trust the direction of the universe and know that I am being guided. And I think that's so beautiful because sometimes we can look at the stuff happening in our lives and be like, I don't understand it. I don't know what to do. And the thing is, when we can quiet our minds, when we can get in that soft, receptive, relaxed state, we're going to hear the inner guidance more. And you don't need to overthink it. So this is just beautiful confirmation. You are guided. Land in trust. It says, I trust the direction of the universe and I know I'm being guided. So how can you land in more trust today? Yeah. You love dragonflies. They're so cute. They are. Yeah. So thank you everyone for being here. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I will hopefully be live next week. But I will say the next couple weeks are a little busy for me, so we'll see. But you can always check out the replays on my YouTube. If you're not following me, I invite you to go ahead and follow me. That way you get notified when I go live and all my content. If you want some support, you can check out all the resources at the top of my page. I got a lot of good stuff, paid and free, and like tons of different price points. So there's something for everyone. So if you want to work with me, I would love to support you. You're welcome, Kennedy. Okay, bye everyone. I'll see you soon.